The 35-day session of Oregon's legislature starts this coming Monday, and so legislative leaders met with reporters in Salem today to talk about some of the big things that they're working on. Tonight, we're going to hear from Governor Kotek. Tomorrow night, legislative leaders. The governor took several questions about this marquee issue. This session, it is the changes to Measure 110. That's the Oregon law that decriminalized drugs. Democratic lawmakers are working on a plan that would end that and re-criminalize drugs, but make it a Class C misdemeanor. That's the lowest level. Republicans want that to be a Class A misdemeanor, the highest level, before getting into felony territory. Governor Kotek sounded encouraged by the direction lawmakers are moving, but refused to commit herself to signing a bill.
And I think they're moving in the right direction. I want to say that up front. And as I mentioned yesterday, things change. As a legislature, they start at one place. There is a lot of work yet to do. My staff is tracking and reviewing the different changes. And I also want to say, in what we're hearing from the Joint Committee, I know there's a lot of focus on the recriminalization, but I would hope everybody looks at this as a comprehensive package. It is about what you do on the front end, as it relates, for example, to the misdemeanor, but it's also about connecting people with services, making sure we're planning better, making sure we're making investments. What I'm focusing on right now, as I continue to follow what is going on in that committee and their proposal, we're focusing on what the capacity needs are for treatment. Because I believe the legislature is going to recommend changes that will be incumbent upon us to make sure there are more opportunities for recovery. And so my job right now is to make sure, where are we under the Oregon Health Authority's leadership? What resources are available? What more resources do we need? Where do we need placement of services? That is what I'm focused on right now, so that I can walk alongside that proposal from the Joint Committee, so we make the right choices by the end of session. So again, it's a complex proposal, and I'm watching it evolve, and we'll see where it ends up.
But I'm hearing you say you envision yourself potentially signing a bill that includes recriminalization. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I want to see a proposal that answers a set of questions, and one piece will be recriminalization. But if we just look at recriminalization in isolation, I think it's missing the point. So my question is going to be, like, if you make a change, legislature, and you're suggesting a change, what else are you going to do different to make sure we have better outcomes? So to me, it's an interrelated conversation.
Seemed to me like the governor took a big old detour on the way to answering that first question, so I'm really glad that reporter had a follow-up. But she still kind of dodged the question of whether she'd sign a bill that recriminalizes drugs, so another reporter asked that question again.
Again, to the other question, I want to make sure that all parts of the bill make sense and we're actually going to have outcomes. The issue of addiction and the need for pathways to recovery should not be a political football. We should understand any changes that we're making and that it will improve the lives of Oregonians. And that's the filter I'm going to bring to the bill. And I think that's what legislators are trying to do. They are hearing a lot of perspectives. We know there's a ballot measure out there that people are talking about. Let's do this right. Let's make sure we're going to help people with whatever changes come. And that's the filter I'm going to bring to whether or not I can sign the bill.
Okay, Governor, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Measure 110 has been a political football since before it passed. So we probably should not pretend on that front. Sure, there are lots of earnest people on both sides, but politics is in and around the entire issue. The governor also said she's introducing just one bill this short session, and it involves housing. And she wants $500 million for a variety of housing projects that she wants lawmakers to approve changes that would allow cities to move their urban growth boundaries under certain conditions. A reporter asked the governor if she had the votes to pass that bill.
The bill is introduced is a product of a lot of hard work, right? So I think it's a very good starting place, but no bill is perfect on day one. I am relying on the Senate, Senator Jama, the Senate President, to make sure that if there are any additional changes, that it can get across the finish line. I fully expect some technical changes in the bill as introduced. I assume we will continue to have some negotiated conversation about further refinement of the UGB tool, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is the idea that we would not pass a substantial bill this session for housing development. And I've been very clear with our legislative leaders, we need to get it done.
So, no, she doesn't have the votes yet, but it better happen. That's my interpretation of the answer anyway. Again, we'll hear from legislative leaders in the House and Senate on Friday night's show. And while we're talking about priorities for the upcoming session, here's a priority for you. We'd love for you to tune in to the story on Monday night. We're taking the show on the road. We're dedicating our entire half hour to the start of Oregon's short legislative session, from extended one-on-one interviews to a tour showing how you can get involved, even a bit of history mixed in. Ever wonder, for example, who that gold guy statue is meant to represent? Well, we now know, and we'll explain that and a whole lot more to you Monday night on The Story at 6:30.